This is Clem with Clem's Organic Gardens in Brevard, North Carolina. Today is November 17th, 2018, and I'm taking a look at a project I'm started here for a planting next year involving cover crops and winter squash. So what we're looking at here is a field where I laid plastic mulch, and I did this in September, and I spaced it wide enough to be able to drive a tractor in between the beds, and then seeded those aisles with rye. So it's winter rye or cereal rye. And the plan here is that that rye will grow. It won't really grow. It'll stay alive over the winter, and early spring it'll start to grow. And it'll get nice and tall. It'll probably get about 6 feet tall. And then around, when we get out of our get into the frost-free zone, the plan is to plant winter squash in here into the beds of plastic. And what's supposed to happen, if it all works out, is when that rye is at a stage where it's ready to be rolled and killed, I'll come through with a tractor and roll those aisles down, and we'll be left with a nice layer of mulch in between the rows of plastic. At which time the squash will probably already be planted, and then it'll be in a position to vine out and cover the field and cover that mulched area. So the reason I'm doing that, the past couple of years I've experimented. I've grown winter squash a couple different ways. I've tried growing a rye cover crop, rolling it down, and then planting straight into that with the squash, which I had some success with. It seemed promising. And then this year I grew my winter squash on plastic, and I do feel like it just does better on the plastic. But at the same time, it's always an issue of controlling the weeds in between the beds of plastic, and I just like the idea of getting a cover crop in the same field. And the cover crop, did seem to do a pretty good job of that rolled cover crop of controlling weeds. So I'm kind of trying to incorporate both those ideas at once, so that I get the good production by using the plastic, and I can also get the organic matter and get a cover crop into the same field and use that to control the weeds in between. And what else does the cover crop do? And it also has a benefit that the actual squash fruits that grow on that mulch of the rolled cover crop are cleaner. They're not sitting in the dirt. I did find an advantage of that in my previous experiment, and I'm also avoiding one of the downsides of the rolled rye planting, in that I don't have to wait until the rye is ready to be rolled. I can plant into the plastic whenever it's time to plant, and then roll down the rye cover crop when it's time to roll down, assuming, of course, that the squash plants aren't too big when it comes time to roll down the cover crop. I don't think that should happen, but that's one of the many things that could go wrong here. Another concern I've had is just the idea of laying plastic to sit out all winter. So far it's doing pretty good. It's been out for 2 months probably now. We put all these boards on there to keep it from blowing away, but and especially now that cover crop's gotten established, I don't think it's going anywhere. It seems pretty good. There's always, animals could walk on it and poke holes in it. So we'll see how that turns out. But, yeah, and then of course all kinds of things could go wrong with the actual rolling down of the cover crop. It might end up not doing that good a job of controlling weeds. There's not too many perennial weeds in this field, so I have pretty high hopes. There is some nut sedge in there that I was trying to cut back this summer, but it'll probably be there. But yeah, this is kind of a before shot, and we'll see what the after looks like as we go through the season of 2019.